Hello, today we're going to be teaching you how to teach your dog to walk on a leash without pulling, which is called a loose leash walk. And we're going to do it with the pressure release training style. So pressure release training style basically means when the dog pulls on the leash, you're going to apply pressure back. The moment they no longer pull, you're going to release that pressure. So essentially what you're teaching them is by pulling, they get pressure. And when they stop doing that, they get the release. So the pressure is the negative and the release is the positive. Here, this picture, this dog is walking loose. You can tell because the leash is not tight. So first things first, you need to be able to have a collar that works with the pressure release style. A martingale is the basic one to recommend. If your dog struggles with that, there's other advanced ones we can do. Just reach out to us and we can do some other recommendations on those. But the basics with the martingale is how it works is if the dog is pulling, the collar gets tighter. And if they are no longer pulling, it gets looser. So when you size this, you want to be able to size it to where you can still fit 2 fingers under it when it's not tight. But when they pull, it is going to get tighter on their neck. So you don't want to make it so tight that that's going to hurt them in any way. Just make sure it's still fitted like a regular collar. The other great thing about these collars is that they can't back out of them. So if you ever have a dog that has like backed out of a regular collar, these won't let you do it because when they pull or they try and back out, it gets tighter around their collar. So this is what you want to use when you're working with this. There are other things you can try. You can try some harnesses that have the same style, an easy walk, a freedom harness. You can also try the gentle leader, and you can also try some metal prongs or star mark collars as well. So now we're going to demonstrate on my dog, Arthur. When you do this, you want to make sure they have the full length of the leash. You don't want to wrap it around your hand and give them a limited amount. That's not going to give them enough length to really learn. You need to be able to give them the entire length so they really understand. They have to make the mistake to be able to learn the correct thing. If you're only doing that short area, they're going to be making a mistake constantly and they're not going to understand when they're doing the right thing. So if you give that entire length of the leash, then they're really going to know when it's loose and when it's not. With this walk, you want to apply pressure the minute they pull. So the way you can know that they are pulling is when that leash is tight. You want that leash to be in a J. That J is the idea. So if you see with what I'm showing with my hands right there, that is loose. If it's tight at all, like I showed prior to that, then that is not good, and that's when you're going to apply that pressure. Now we're going to start practicing. So when you do this, the moment the dog pulls, you apply pressure in the opposite direction. So if they pull left, you go right. If they pull right, you go left. So when you do this, it's very helpful if you have a pathway for you to work on. If you just have like an empty field or something like that, just have like a starting point and an ending point. I'm going to use this sidewalk. I recommend something like that just because it helps you get an idea of like the way you're going to go. Because as you're doing this, sometimes you end up wanting to go in circles and you get a little off the path. So having that sidewalk there just helps you get back in that same area. So there I was just pointing from my starting point and my ending point. So I'm going to start. The moment he pulls, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So that time he went to the right, so I went to the left. Then we go back in where we were going. That time he was pulling a little backwards, so I just kept going forward. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to keep going. So he pulled to the left, I pulled to the right. And then I go back to the way I was going. Got caught on his foot, so I just fix it. And then we go back around. If he just stops walking, I'm just going to keep going forward because that's essentially the way you're doing it. So that time he went to the left, I went to the right. It looks a little chaotic, but as you get it, the dog starts learning, and the next thing you know, he's walking right by your side without pulling at all. So now he's doing a little bit better. He's just kind of walking right by me. You can see the leash is very loose. And he's walking again by my side. And he's not pulling. So just in that short amount of time, he's already starting to pick it up. So he went to the right, so I went a little bit to the left. It's kind of what this is like fancy footwork. You're going to feel like you're dancing. And there are times that you might only make it a block with your dog because you're having to go back and forth so much, but that's okay. It's a learning process. You're teaching the dog the entire time you're going, and this is honestly going to wear them out more mentally than if you did like a 10-mile walk. So that wraps up this video. If you have any questions, please reach out. We're more than happy to help. We can also do a video chat, and I can watch how you guys are practicing, send in recordings, anything like that, and I can help give you some tips. So again, this is just the starting of the loose leash walking. The next one we'll go over is a working walk, which is where we're essentially doing very similar to this, but we're teaching them to be on a heel position, which is right to your left or right. When you're doing this, you want to make sure you give your dog enough time to learn this pressure release before you jump to the next thing. So even if it takes a few weeks, whatever it takes, all dogs learn at a different pace. Take your time. Don't rush. It's okay if they don't get it right off the bat, and it's okay if you don't get it right off the bat. That's what this video is for you to go back and rewatch. Please reach out if you have any questions. We're here to help.